In this video we will be looking at our first Java program. So in our first Java program we will be using IntelliJ IDEA, and if you need to follow exactly as what I'm doing, you please check out our previous videos. Now without further ado, let's create a new project. So here click on this new project after you open IntelliJ IDEA. So now here we have the new project window. From the left side you have to select Java. For me, you can select your SDK, and suppose if here I have Java JDK 11. Now suppose if you have some other version and it's not showing up here, you can go to new, and from here you can go to the directory with the JDK and set the JDK directory of there, whatever it is. So I have this, and click on next. From here you have to check this box, create project template, create project from template, and select the command line app. You may also have the Java hello world, but you have to select the command line app. From next, click on next. Here you can set the name of your project. So in this case, let us set hello world. Here this is the project location. This is the base package. So basically a base package is a specific folder where we store our Java files. So this is just to avoid some collisions. We'll talk about that later. So what you can do here is, after that small dot sign after com dot, you can rename anything that's in the company except, in my situation, except this package. You cannot do that. So basically you can rename here and set whatever you like. So I will be selecting CodeQuanta. It is a kind of a personal storage space for Java. So after you have done that, you can finish. Okay, so now our project is ready. The hello world project. Here is the project tab. So it gives us the overview of all the folders and files we have within our project. So in this case our project is hello world, and this is the external libraries. Here we have all the libraries that are provided by Java, the JDK. You need not to worry about that. Just know that this is really important, extremely important. I mean, without that your program won't run in any way. So, and then we have this, the 11, this is JDK 11, you can see, and within it we have a bunch of different libraries. So just don't do anything with that. You don't want to get messed up your project. And here we have the .idea, and here we have all the files that are storing some data. You need, again, that's not the part of our program. It just be there. And we have the source folder where our main.java, the main file in which we write a program, that's stored in the src folder. And within here we have com.codeQuanta. This is the package. Suppose someone else creates a hello world package, hello world project, and then what IntelliJ does, that it won't create two different projects of the same name. It will be problematic. What it will do, it will create a same project, and in here this is com.codeQuanta, and suppose if there is another one, suppose let's name it some company, com.company. So what will happen, there will be a com folder, and when you further open it, there will be two folders, so CodeQuanta and that company, and in both of them there will be one of these, as you can see. And that's just for avoiding any collisions, because within the same project we have different Java files, and then we will be having our compiled form of our Java program. So in order to avoid all these collisions, we have this package system, so it gets arranged. And once we compile all of this, once we run our code, there will be another folder. We'll look about that later. Let's close there. Now here, if you might be having in the first run some smaller text, you can change that in settings. This is settings tab. You can go to appearance. From here you can choose this theme, you can insert the theme, and you have the sans serif, that will be whatever is except whatever everything except these, the code we have. Everything else, whatever it's written like these, will having this font what you write. You can increase it here. After that, once you change it, make sure to click on apply. As you can see, it has increased slightly in size, and that will be helpful. If you want to increase the size of this one, the font of the code, you can go to editor. From this triangle here, you can click on font. Here you have this font, and here you can increase the size. Suppose I keep it 25. You can click on apply, click on OK, and here we have I hope it's clear to you. Now this is our package, so this specifies that this main.java file is within this package. So first of all, this thing is called a comment by double slash, whatever you can cut down that, and maintaining the indentation, we can write our first program that will be to print hello world as always. So this is the exact line of code what I am typing, you have to type, otherwise you'll get an error. So type this system.out.println, then within put a parenthesis and terminate the statement with a semicolon, and within the parenthesis we put double quotes. Make sure you put double quotes, because if you put a single quote and write in a sentence, it will give you an error. Why we'll learn later. Just make sure we have the double quotes, and within here you can type a hello world. Hello world. Very nice, beautiful. So here we have our first project, and here this is the main line of code to print. Now even though this is long, this is really helpful, that you will come to know later why. Because a lot of things are quite difficult to explain at this point. So once you have that, and here you have a tick, that means there are no problems found. There might be some warnings that won't cause any problem to your program, but if there are some errors, that is there is somewhere red color, red line, there will be a problem, so you have to check it. After that is completed, you can click on this triangle, run. So this will run this main program. So now wait, it will build the project, so it will actually compile, and then it will show you the output finally in the run. You see, I have completed, this is completed building my project. Took a really long time. I just shift it to the right side, right top. So here, as you can see, we have a final output. You do not have to think of this. This is this directory where things have taken place, something has occurred. This is the exit code. Not to now this here in the middle is the main output, and as you can see, we have a hello world. And if you have done it successfully, then congratulations, you have created your first Java program. And if you have not, make sure to check all of this. It is the same as of now, and if it still doesn't run, then close your project and reopen it, and if it still creates some problem, close the project and make another project the same. And also, if once again if it still occurs, then you have to see if you have some problem with your JDK directory or something like that. So here we have created a Java program. It's quite easy peasy. And now let's try to understand what all of these mean. Okay, now see, Let me just increase the size a little bit more. Okay, it's alright. So now first of all, I have already told you about this package, so we want to talk about it now once again. Let the public class mean. So what does this public class means? That is, first of all, this public, this keyword means that whatever is outside of this class, and so whatever is outside of this class that can access whatever is inside this class. Pause the video and rewatch it again and continuously so that you have a good idea of what I'm trying to say. It may be a little bit confusing, so I'm repeating once again. This public tells that within this class, whatever is here, then this braces after the whatever I write after this class. Here is the class keyword, and then we have the curly braces, and then whatever we have inside this, any program outside of this, outside of these curly braces, can access it, or basically outside of this class will run. So then we have this class. So class, what is a class? We'll try to understand it later on. This thing you have in Java, whenever you create a program, you have to declare a class. In this condition, we have our main.java, so we declare the main class. Make sure you have the same casing, otherwise it will create an error. Then we have this curly braces. That means whatever the class members are is within these curly braces. So once again we have this public, and this public is this, the meaning of this one is the same as what was that. Then we have the static. Generally in Java we create objects. We'll learn about that later. So in Java we create objects, and through that objects we run some functions. But in the case of main, in the case of main function, in Java we call function methods. Okay, so in the case of this main method, we won't be able to create any kind of object, because if we try to create an object within this, then we have to run this. So basically main has to call itself. Okay, so the main function has to run itself. So we have static. So the main method can be run without any creation of any object. So then we have void. Void tells that this function, what after this function run, it won't return any value. Suppose we have a function to calculate the volume of suppose a box. Then if we run that function, it must return some value. In this case, it will, in the case of function that calculates the volume, it will return the volume of that. So in this case it won't return anything, so it is void. Then we have this main. Then we have this parenthesis that tells that this is a function, and within that parenthesis we'll have that arguments. I won't be telling you anything about that because there isn't any explicit explanation for this. So just remember that this is important. It might be that these brackets may be found here. It's quite possible, and it isn't a problem. It will show some warning like here, C style array declaration of parameter args. So this is how it happens in C, and IntelliJ says that in Java we have this. You need not know about that, just make sure you write the same. And it does not matter whether you put these square braces here after string or after args. So these braces means whatever we have within these, that will be executed once we run the main method. Then we have this thing. So first of all we have system. System is a Java class. You can suppose it is another Java program, like I have created a Java program. It is a Java program that was created by the developers of JDK. So this is another class, and you can find that within the project. Then we have .out. So .out is a stream. That means when this project runs, okay, so the system declares two kinds of system, in and out. That means either things will go in or things will go out. In this case it is printing, so it's giving the output. So we have dot out string. In case we take input, it will be dot in, but it won't be in the same format. Then we have dot println. Then within the out string, we have this println thing, and this ln is just, and actually print the actual line is just print. This ln text tells that after you print whatever in this statement, the next whatever gets printed next will be in the next line. So if I cut that and print another thing, then it will all of that will be in one line. Then we have again brackets, and we have this we have our text, our line within the double quotes. And was telling you that you should not have the single quotes. That's because Java already declares another kind of data type that uses single quotation mark, and if you put the single quotation mark here, it will give you obviously an error. See, it gives me an error and say too many characters in the character literal. So character literal is a kind of a data type. We'll learn about that later. So we need to have the double quotation mark, and here we terminate the statement. So that's all in our first program, and slowly and slowly as we go ahead, we'll learn all of the details, all of that. Now now let us try to understand how a Java program gets executed. So in this diagram what I have here, we won't be getting in detail how that happens in IntelliJ. That is the base. This is the basic what happens when you create Java. First of all, we have our file.java. Okay, whatever we have, any kind of file, and we have .java extension. That's a file where we put our code, write our code. Then when we run it, it gets compiled by the compiler called javac. It's in a JDK. This compiler gives us another file called the bytecode.class. So what is this bytecode? So a bytecode is a kind of a file that can run on any platform. You can run it anywhere you want. Okay, so it's the out, and you cannot change whatever is in that. So if you want to change what is in that, and you cannot see directly what is in that, and like you did for Java, this will be run by the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine. So it has some even more complex things within the JVM. So it takes the dot class called the bytecode with the dot class extension, and gives, and the JVM, within the JVM, that bytecode class is processed, and the interpreter, we have a Java interpreter as well, and the Java interpreter outputs our code line by line. So we have a compiler as well as interpreter. The compiler is like this and outside, and the interpreter is within this Java JVM. And then finally we have our output. Okay, so now that we have run a program in IntelliJ, you might be wondering that how you do the same thing inside using a text editor. How you do that? So to do that, if you have watched a previous video, I had told you how to set the system variables. So that is very important to do that. That's a must. So make sure you watch that video before trying to do the same in the system. Now to do that, I'm going to create a new folder just for the sake of arranging. Let's create a new folder and we'll name it hello world. So this is our folder. This is a project, and here we can create a new. Here we can create a text document for that, and here we can name it, suppose, once again, main. It's in convention, main is very nice. You can rename it anything. So just make sure that you put the same name with the same casing in within the after the class. Then you will put the .java extension. Save it. Yes. Now in this case I will be using Sublime Text 3. You can use anything. You can use Notepad, Notepad++, or maybe any other one you have. That won't create a lot of difference, but using Sublime Text is a lot easy, because it is quite near to the IntelliJ. Now here, as you can see, this is all empty. And why I choose Sublime Text is because if you suppose, if I start typing, it will give me suggestions based on the program I am doing. The program in which I am writing a code. So in public, I type in public, then we have a class, then we have the name of the class. In this case I set the name main.java, so we have to write main. The same case, the space, we put the braces, and it automatically adds the closing braces, and when you put enter, it automatically once again gives me indentation, correct indentation, appropriate indentation. So now here we have a shortcut in Sublime Text, and if you do not have Sublime Text, you might have to write this whole line of code, but because I have Sublime Text, I can type this main. Here it identifies main method main, and once I click tab or enter, it will write this huge line of code just for me, and you put enter, or you cannot, just to maintain neatness, and then I can write everything the rest. I have to type it in here. So here we have this is terminate the statement, colon, you have the double quotation mark, and hello world. Okay, it's all done. Control plus save. So now once we have all of this done, we can run this program. So to run it, we will be using cmd. So go to the folder where you have this main.java or whatever .java, your main file, and shift right click. So hold shift and right click there, and if you general right click, you have this menu. If you shift right click, there will be another option like the open command window here. So here what we can do next, because we set the system variable to JDK directory and then bin, we can directly type java c, and as you remember, it's the compiler. We'll compile our file. Which file? The name of, so we give the name of the file, the main.java. Click on enter. It's compiling. If it has an error, it will give the error right here, and as you can see, we have the dot class. It won't run otherwise, it will run only by the JVM. Then to run this, we type in java, so it will give the final output, and after that we type in the name main. And for now, we don't, in this case, when we are finally running the JVM to give the output of the code, we do not put that dot class. It automatically sees the dot class extension, and we'll click on enter. Here you have. So